Host discovery is always the first step during any CTFs or pen testing exams. It involves enumeration of IP addresses of the systems available in the test environment. So the first tool is NetDiscover. NetDiscover can be used to inspect your network ARP traffic or find network addresses using auto-scan mode, which will scan for common local networks. Although not covered in CES practical, it's the most essential tool to deal with in any pen testing exam. You can use NetDiscover to scan for live hosts on the network with a given command. Just use the command netdiscover-i and specify your interface. So a target metasploitable has an IP address of 192.168.18.110. So back on our Kali Linux, my IP address is 121 and my interface is 80. So use the command netdiscover-i80 and we need the root. Repeat the command and you can see that NetDiscover is trying to scan for the live hosts. And it has identified a few hosts on the network, including a target metasploitable. The second tool is Nmap. Nmap is a free and open source network scanner. It can be used to discover hosts and services on a computer network by sending packets and analyzing the responses. Nmap provides different scanning options to search for live hosts. We can use ping scan to discover live hosts on the network. Just use the flag -sn with Nmap and provide the IP range. ArcScan is another method to scan for live hosts on the network. Just use the flag -sn and -pr and provide the IP range. Nmap also has a vast variety of scans available, and some of the useful scans for host discovery are also listed in the presentation. You can download the presentation from the Resources tab. So back on Kali machine, use the command sudo nmap-sn and the IP range, and Nmap has discovered live host on the network. Now let's just scan the IP range with ArcScan. Add the flag -pr and Nmap has discovered the live host, including our target. The third tool is Angry IP Scanner. It is open source and cross-platform network scanner designed to be fast and simple to use. You can download and install the tool on Windows from their official website. Open Preferences and ensure the pinging method is set to UDP plus TCP. And in the Display tab, change to display only live hosts. Now provide the IP range and scan for targets. Let's see its demonstration. To search for Angry IP Scanner, open the official website. Now click on Free Download and download the Windows installer. And once it is downloaded, run the installer and install it. Now open it. Provide the IP range. Now go to Tools, Preferences. Set the pinging method to TCP plus UDP. Go into the Display tab and select the option to display only live hosts. Now scan it. So we can see that there is no machines live on a target IP. Now change the IP range to the actual subnet IP and start the scan. And you can see that the angry IP scanner has discovered the live host on our network, including the metasploitable machine. Discovery refers to identifying open ports and identify services running on those ports. Whereas the OS discovery refers to identifying running OS on the target system. Let's first of all see how we can do service discovery. Nmap is the go-to tool for identifying open ports and services running on those ports. You can use the flag -sv that is used for version enumeration. The second tool is hping. It can also be used to identify ports and services. Just use the command hping3-s, the IP address, the port you are checking, and the number of packets you want to send. So our target machine IP is 192.168.18.110. On your Kali machine, use the command sudo nmap-ss-sv for version enumeration, the IP address, and press enter. Now our scan result is back. We can see open ports and the services running on them. It also lists the version of the service running on the system. Now let's use hping. Use the command hping-s, the IP address, the port you are checking, -c, and the number of packets you want to send. And you can see that the port is open, but this tool does not provide much information. Now let's see how we can discover OS version running on the target system. OS discovery with nmap is very simple. Use the nmap scan command with -o flag and will tell the OS version. Nmap also has inbuilt scripts to identify the operating system, but it needs SMB service running on the system. You can use the script with command -script smbosdiscovery.nsc. You can also determine the OS with manual banner grabbing. Parameters such as time to live and TCP window size in the IP header of the first packet in a TCP session plays an important role in identifying the OS. The TTL field determines the maximum time a packet can remain in a network, and the TCP window size determines the length of the packet reported. These values differ for different operating systems. You can refer to the given table and determine the OS with the values. So just ping your target and you can infer the OS from the response received. So on Kali Linux, let's first use nmap to determine operating system. Use nmap scan with -o flag. And you can see that our target system is Linux. Similarly, we can use SMB OS discovery script to determine operating system. Just use the command as shown on the screen and we get much information about the target. Now let's just try to determine the version with ping command. Just ping it and you can see the TTL is 64, which means it is a Linux operating system. Now nmap also supports a comprehensive scan. We can use the following one-liner on most of the targets to gather a lot of useful information like OS detection, version detection, script scanning, and trace route. Just run nmap scan with -a flag. I am running the comprehensive scan on port 445. And you can see that we get very useful information from the scan. NetBIOS is a legacy networking protocol used for communication between computers on a local area network. It provides services for naming, browsing, and sharing resources within a network. It enables computers to identify each other using unique names, establish session between applications, and facilitate file and printer sharing. By enumerating NetBIOS, we can identify shared resources, detect potential vulnerabilities, and assess the overall network configuration. NetBIOS uses two main ports, port 137. This port is used for NetBIOS name service or the NetBIOS name resolution service. It handles the registration and resolution of NetBIOS names. The second port is 138 and this port is used for NetBIOS datagram service. It supports the transmission of datagram messages between NetBIOS enabled devices. NetBIOS over TCP/IP can also use TCP port 139 for session establishment and data transfer. So the first tool is nbtstat, which is a Windows command line utility. You can use the command nbtstat-a, the target IP address, to enumerate NetBIOS names for a target. You can also check the local cache for NetBIOS with -c flag with nbtstat. The second tool is nmap. Nmap has a script for NetBIOS enumeration. You can use the script nbstat.nlc to enumerate NetBIOS services. Now let's see the demonstration. The target IP is 192.168.18.110. Open command prompt in Windows. Now use the command nbtstat-a and the IP address of the target, and it is gathering information. And we have its name, which is metasploitable. You can check NetBIOS local cache with -c flag. You see that it has the record for metasploitable. Now move to Akari 9X and initiate nmap scan with script nbstat.nsc. And here we have the results with a lot of information about a target. SMB or Service Message Block is a network protocol used for file sharing, printer sharing, and other communication between computers in a network. It is commonly associated with Microsoft Windows environment, and SMB operates over TCP/IP and uses a range of ports for different purposes. Port 445 is the primary port used by SMB for file sharing and communication. It handles the major of SMB traffic, including file access, printer sharing, and remote administration. Port 137 and 138 are used by SMB for NetBIOS name resolution and datagram services similar to NetBIOS. Whereas the port 139 is used by older versions of SMB for session establishment and file sharing. It is commonly used in conjunction with NetBIOS over TCP/IP. So the first tool is nmap. Nmap can be used to scan and enumerate the SMB service, and then we can use various other tools to enumerate SMB further. You can check the version of SMB with -sv flag or -a flag, and then you can use the scripts like SMB OS Discovery or SMB Enum Shares. There are a number of scripts available in nmap to enumerate SMB. You can check more scripts by the given command. Now let's see the other tool, which is Enum for Linux. It is one of the most important enumeration tools. Enum for Linux is a tool used for network enumeration and information gathering. It leverages various SMB and NetBios enumeration techniques to gather information about a target system. Just use the command enum for Linux -a and the target IP. Now let's see the demonstration. The target IP is 192.168.18.110. Go to Kali Linux and initiate Nmap scan on port 445 with -a flag. And we get a comprehensive information about the target. Now let's just run some SMB scripts against the target. Repeat the scan with SMB OS discovery module. And we have the OS and the computer name. Now let's just try to enumerate shares and users. Use the given scripts. And we have the information about the shares and the users. Now let's just use enum for Linux. Just use the command enum for Linux -a and the target IP. And you can see that it is gathering information about the target and presenting in a very beautiful manner. So it has also gathered information about the shares and the users on the machine. That's all for the lecture, and see you in the next lecture.